Hi everybody, I hope you're all having a good day. So I'm going to give you a quick little guide on how to do UV mapping. So the first question will definitely be, what is UV mapping? Well, basically UV mapping is literally kind of like, in a nutshell, some sort of type of map in which you will basically paint on, which will basically project, it kind of helps project an image to a 3D model basically. So let me show you how it looks like in a way. So what you see here, like these little lines right here and stuff, this is what we call a UV map. So you basically just take a PNG or paint on it and stuff, and then those colors based off of how the UV map is will be projected on the mesh itself. So, how do we make one? So usually by default there would be a UV map. You can also disable the generate UV map whenever you load meshes and stuff. But most of the time they probably would come with a UV map, but it's not a good UV map. So if you're like taking a cube and you make it into a complicated object, never use a default UV map. You would always need to remake it, always. Unless the mesh itself is literally just a cube, then you don't have to. But in this case, we turn the cube or cylinder or plane, whatever mesh, into a different object, and now we have to make a better UV map for it. So now the common method, which is very simple, is literally just marking seams and literally just making a UV map out of it. So let me demonstrate here with the dress right here. So when we have everything selected, we can see that basically right here the map just looks very hideous. So let me actually turn on screencast keys for a moment. But basically what we'll have to do is just make the UV map. So let me show you. So for this dress, it is a tube shape. So if I were to click on unwrap right now, we would have this sort of UV map. Now some people might be like, okay, this is fine. This is not really good. And the reason why this is not good is because if you zoom in here, you can see how tiny, how compressed this is, how squeezed in, how very squeezed in this is. And this can be very hard to do textures because the quality of the texture can actually be pretty bad on the mesh. So we're gonna have to create a mark seam for this outfit. So since this dress here is already mirrored, the mirror modifier has been applied, I will just do a direct mark seam in the middle. So since it's quad, now if it's tries, if your model tries and you're trying to change the UV map and stuff, you cannot do the edge loop selection thing. You'll have to manually select the edges yourself. But for this case, I will select one of the edges. So in case you're wondering, you can always select edge mode on the top left corner right here, or just press the number 2 button on your keyboard to swap to edge mode. Select one of the edges, shift alt on another edge, and then go to UV, mark seam, select everything with the A key, unwrap, and there you go. You have a much better looking UV map. Now of course you'll probably have to do some adjustments. You might have to adjust some of these lines so it's a little bit more straighter. But other than that, this is a pretty decent UV map. Try to also make sure nothing intersects like this, because this can also be pretty bad depending on the level of textures, the quality of the texture it is. If it's just a plain color, I guess you could leave it be, but never have anything intersect in the first place. That's just bad overall. But yeah, other than that, this is a decent UV map. You could, if you have more specific needs, you can always, mark more seams. So like, for example, the sleeves, I want that to be its own thing. UV map, so actually, hold up, first of all. So, select these two edges for the sleeves, then go to UV map, and then mark seam, and then you can unwrap right here, and you can see that the sleeve has been its own thing. So that's kind of like literally the basics of it, really. You can also clear seams too, so if you want to remove some seams, you can select the edges, go to UV, and clear the seams if you want. But that's kind of it in a nutshell, really. It's just like, you know, kind of experimenting, see if it looks nice. Are you able to draw on the mesh or the UV map? Like, is this good to draw on? Is this suitable for you? Is this what you want? Do you have more specific taste to what you want, how much detail you want? You might want to split a little more if you want more, you know, more control or something like that, or if you want to try controlling the quality, you know. It's a matter of like experimenting and all that, but that's kind of like the basics of it. If by any chance you do want to straighten out some vertices very quickly, you can use the circle tool, select some of the vertices in the UV map, Shift W, and select auto align or straighten. Usually I select auto align, and you know, you can have it a little bit more straighter. So you can do that. Other than that, that's kind of it. It's just a matter of like how the mesh is, really. And I can't really explain for every type of mesh. The least I can do is just give you advice on it or little pointers, but it's just a matter of like literally how the mesh is and all that. So I can go ahead and quickly UV map this outfit, so give me a moment. So I'm just gonna do this super quick, but I will eventually fix a couple of these lines here, because definitely this does need a bit of a work, you know, some reworks and all that. But you kind of get the gist, you know. Edit a couple of these lines, you know, probably edit some individual points while you're adding stuff, you know, make everything look much nicer and stuff. And especially for like more smaller meshes and stuff, you definitely need to, like, something like this, you definitely need to like edit the points big time, because if you want to add detail, there's no way in heck you'll be able to have those, you know, proper details if everything's all squished up together. So, you know, manually edit something like this, make it straighter, make it bigger, make it look much nicer and all that. But yeah, that's pretty much it though. I can't really explain much, really. It's just a matter of just, you know, trial and error, see how it works. Mess with the mesh and stuff, see how it is. Sometimes you could, sometimes like maybe if you do have a very complicated UV map, and if the mesh is just a single color, you don't have to worry too much about the UV map. But as I said, it's always best to have some shading with your textures, so always try to make sure to have the best UV map as possible. It's gonna take a long time probably to edit a couple of the UV maps though, because, you know, some of them maybe a bit broken. I'm not sure where the model will be coming from, but, you know, always make sure it looks great. As I said, this right here is a pretty good example of a decent UV map in a way. Like I said, some work can be done with this, straighten out some of the lines, you know, all that. But really, you know, up to you. Experiment, play around with it, and you should be a-okay with it. But that's pretty much it on the basics of UV mapping. I also want to point out that when it comes to creating your UV maps, you can actually export those UV maps. So when you are planning on texturing out your images and all that, you can also export the UV map so you can put it into your photo editing program, so that way you can use it as a layout to kind of figure out where things are in your mesh and, you know, basically paint over this UV map layout. So you can go to the UV tab right here, select export UV layout, click on it, and then, you know, save your UV map layout to whatever name, as long as you know where it is, and then you can open up in the photo editing program, and then you can create another layer which you can paint on top of the UV map layout, and, you know, be able to take that image, whatever texture it is, and then put it back in the blender. So yeah, that's just another little tip about UV map and the creations of it. So yeah, if by any chance you're still confused, please let me know. But that's kind of it for UV mapping. It's pretty simple, but of course, you know, each mesh can be complicated, especially higher poly meshes can be even more complicated. So I don't blame you if you have a high poly mesh, if you download it online, you want to put on your model, but it's too high poly and you don't know how you map it properly. You know, like I said, also, by the way, I do want to give you a little bit of another advice, especially for high poly meshes, in case you have a hard time UV mapping those. You can actually go into the UV tab, and then you can click on Smart UV Project. So let me select this, UV Project. You can set like an angle limit, it really depends, you can just mess around with this. But it does impact how the, you know, the UV map will look like. It sometimes might help you, but most of the time it's pretty not good. But I only use it if I have a very, very high poly mesh. So yeah, you can also do other stuff. You can copy and paste the UV maps and all that. Mess around with the UV map settings and all that. You can also do cube projection if you want to, although that's not really a good idea unless you have unless you kind of like I said, it's a matter of like preference in your UV map and how it works for you. You can even do the light map pack. Not really best either, but I do see some use in it for like specific shading. But yeah, either way, I would just prefer to do it manually. That's only if you absolutely need to on these two little sections and all the others. But it's mainly just mark theme, UV map, unwrap it, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, let me know if you need help. You know, if by any chance if you want me to make another video of like, you know, UV map examples where I have a couple of different meshes and I show you how to UV map a couple of those shapes, then feel free to request it. I'll try and make a video about that. But that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it helps you. Comment down if you need help. I am always looking out for comments. I'm always here to help you out. If by any chance you don't want to comment and you need a private tutor, in the description I have my Discord tag. I highly recommend, if you want a private tutor, don't join my Discord server. Add me on the tag, Kanafuyiko Discord, and then you can, you know, private message me, and then we can call and I can, you know, teach you around Blender and all that so I can help you. Or if you have a Twitter, then I can help you there too. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely day. Heika, heika, heika. Sayonara, everyone. See you guys next time. Bye.